in both locations are children's classes. At Ishika, also with our children's classes here. And then Tanya, where's Tanya? Tanya, go, just raise your hand. She might be in the other, oh, there she is. She also is one of our teaching assistants. And Rucha, where is Rucha? Rucha is also former instructor and currently in a position of teaching assistant. And we hope to bring her back on staff very soon. So as we close out our program, thank you ladies, I'd like to introduce another principal member of the Chhandam Dance Company, also director of the Chhandam School, Rachna Nivas. And ladies, as we do that, you can very slowly, parent volunteers, if you can stand them up, and they're going to join us on stage in just a moment. So I'd like to introduce Rachna Nivas. Please join me in welcoming her to our Cupertino Spring Showcase. Namaskar. Thank you, Farah. Please give everyone another huge applause. I want to particularly commend the staff, Farah, for her incredible leadership here at the branch. Many of you don't know me. Some of you do. I don't get to come here to the Cupertino branch that often, but I do teach in Fremont and have the great privilege to be the director of the school. And what I want to talk about today is actually what you just saw. Can you hear me? Okay. And that's legacy. Many of you may not know the history of how Pandit Chhandam Das came to this country. In India, he was part of his parents' school, the Nritya Bharati School of Dance and Music, and it was actually the first school of government funded by India after independence. And it was at that time that he grew up in an environment where the great gurus of Indian classical dance and music came and visited. He was exposed to every classical dance form, from Manipuri, Kuchipudi, Kathakali artists coming and visiting. And that was also when there was all-night concerts. So what you might think, oh, this is kind of long. Back then, it was from night all the way to morning. And everyone came. The audience came. They wanted to. They sat, maybe sometimes cold, kids sleeping, but that was the tradition. That was the culture. And that was the time then. Fast forward to today. How is that relevant to us? Well, when Panditji came here to the US, he was invited by Ali Akbar Khan Saab, the great Sarod artist who was responsible for bringing Indian classical music to the West. And it was right here in the Bay Area. That was when Pandit Ravi Shankar was just also building his name, Ustad Zakir Hussain Ji building his name, and then there was our Guruji. They even tell stories about how Zakir Ji and Panditji was putting up their posters up around Berkeley before anybody knew who they were. And it was right in Marin County in the 1970s. It was a great time of flourish for Indian classical tradition. And since then, they've gone on their different paths. Zakir Ji popularized tabla. Our Guruji wanted to create an institution, something much larger than himself. And that's what you see today. Today, Chhandam is the largest classical Indian dance institution outside of India, plus branches in India. Worldwide, we have 700 students. And he's created disciples. Each disciple is a solo artist in their own rights, and has been empowered to create our own voices through the art form. Many of you may have come and seen solo performances done by the company members. But what's next? why people like me, Farah, and many of us dancers who have taken this on as full-time, we certainly wouldn't have thought we ever would. Many of us were born here in the US. I was actually raised about 5 minutes from here. I grew up in Saratoga, Cupertino, went to Kennedy Junior High, Monte Vista High, went to Berkeley. Certainly did not think that I would become a dancer. My parents didn't think so either. But the reason why we do this is because what we see is that what training we have been given is not only a very big responsibility, but a treasure, a jewel that has been handed down. And we are taking it upon us to be leaders to help uplift the Indian community. We are a rich community in science and tech, but we shouldn't just be rich in those fields. No disrespect to them. My parents are both scientists. My husband is an entrepreneur. They have to coexist. But art is what uplifts our community intellectually, culturally, and spiritually. And that's the community that I think all of us want. That's the environment we want our children to grow up in. The tools are all there. The Indian subcontinent offers some of the most incredible traditions for dance, music, poetry, yoga, Ayurveda. I mean, it is, if you go deep, the philosophy and the history of the subcontinent is incredible. But all of them have to become aware of that. And that's what we're trying to do at Chhandam, is through their training of Kathak. That's the vehicle for that education and for that pride to happen. Real pride. And that's why we have our Legacy Gala. Because really speaking, it cannot live on. This vision, Panditji had it, that he wanted to teach Americans. He didn't know it would be teaching the Indian diaspora. In the 70s, it was all, as he calls them, blondes and brunettes, flower children, the post-hippie time. But now, it's the Indian diaspora. And it cannot live on unless the community believes in it. Just like the ballet, the opera, they all got up there because the community believed in it. So I just want to tell you, I won't talk long about the gala, because you can get all that information, but I just want to tell you the very exciting part about it. Is this year, the performance is actually a collaboration, many of you may have heard, that Panditji is doing with the flamenco artist from Spain, Antonio Hidalgo. And the vision of the show, well, I'm not going to give it all away, but it is to explore the similarities in history between flamenco and Kathak, Spain and India, and how that came about. Why is there those similarities? And of course, through their very exciting dance, improvisation, and showing the two cultures of Spain and India, and putting them next to each other. So, we hope that you will not only all join us for the show, but that you will somehow get involved. Whether it's getting involved with your CAPS, the Chhandam Association of Parents and Students, you get involved with fundraising, gala, helping with that, volunteering. I mean, there's so many different aspects of Chhandam. Just like in a regular school, those schools that have the best PTAs, those are the ones that rate best. It's no different here. And we need fathers. We always need fathers. Because when it becomes a family affair, that's when they'll have the pride. Not just the mothers. Because when they grow up knowing, watching that their fathers have that value for it, there's no way that they cannot. lot of parents ask me, oh, how can we get them to practice more? How can we get them to practice more? Actually, it's your involvement. That's what will help. And if you're worried that they'll drop out, your involvement will help that. So, I'll just conclude for now. Okay. Thank you all for coming, for supporting Indian classical tradition. Namaskar. Thank you again for joining us this afternoon. One more